Hello and welcome back, everyone. For our last employer sharing session this afternoon, we have Kai, Joanna, and Chris from B Capital Group, a multi-staged global investment firm. And they will share insights on the firm's focus in Singapore and the region and the exciting new job roles on offer. So during the session, please feel free to put any questions you have in the Q&A window, and we'll address these live during the session. I'll now hand the time over to Chris and to Kai and Joanna, who will give an overview of the Capital Group. Over to you.
Hi, everyone. Firstly, I must thank each one of you for taking some time to attend this session with B Capital. We are very excited to participate in this program and to meet everyone. Kudos as well to the IBF team for organizing such a great event, especially during this pandemic. It's important for us to keep the connection alive, and we are very excited to be part of this program. And by way of introduction, my name is Kai Ril. I'm the Senior HR Manager for the Asia region in B Capital. I'm also based here in Singapore. Before I start sharing more about B Capital, I'd like to introduce you to two of my colleagues, Joanna Wang, who is our Talent Acquisition Manager for the Asia region, and we also have Chris Lim, who is our Investor Relations Associate. Excuse me. Joanna will be speaking after me to share more about our roles in Singapore, while Chris will dive into greater details on one of the roles that we are hiring in his team. All right, and so let's speak more about B Capital Group. So B Capital was founded in 2015 by three of our visionary founders, Adodor Severin, Raj Ganguly, and Howard Morgan. We have senior investment professional Kabir Narang heading our Southeast Asia operations. And recently we have Sheila Patel, the former chairman of Goldman Sachs Asset Management, joining the firm as a vice chairman. The firm was established with the belief that the next groundbreaking companies would not only be built in Silicon Valley, but in other parts of the world. And achieving this grand mission, we are also partnering with Boston Consulting Group, who is our strategic partner across our operations globally. And 6 years later, in 2021, we have established our operations in 6 countries across the US, Greater China, and Southeast Asia. Today, we have a world-class team of 120 professionals and $3.5 billion of asset under management. And as a firm, we set our mind for the future. We invest in innovation and growth and thinking of where the world will be a decade from now. As such, our investment is focused on early growth and late-stage growth companies across 5 industries, namely enterprise software and consumer enablement, fintech and insurtech, healthcare tech and bio-IT, industrial and transportation. In Singapore alone, we have invested in 2 unicorns. These are household names that you may hear from time to time. It's Ninja Van and Carol. And apart from the history of the company, I also wanted to share a little bit more about our CSR efforts and our diversity and inclusion program or policy that we have in the firm. B Capital, as a firm, believe in giving back to the community. In 2020 alone, we have exceeded our goal of contributing US $1 million in direct giving and in-kind employee time. And apart from that, we have also been recognized as the 10 most diverse venture capitalists. Our gender parity is about 57% male and 43% female. And I shall stop here now and we'll give the opportunity to my colleagues, Joanna and Chris, to share a little bit more about the firm. At the end of the session, there will be a Q&A and be happy to take your questions. And thank you everyone for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Kai, for introducing about B Capital Group. And first, I'd like to thank all the participants again for tuning into our corporate sharing session. It is my pleasure to be speaking in this session with you from the talent acquisition perspective. And myself, a quick introduction. So I've joined B Capital Group this year as the talent acquisition manager, and I look after the Asia Pacific region. So first, please allow me to give you a quick overview about B Capital's value, structure, and a summary of the roles that we are recruiting for before I pass on to Chris to share more about the opportunity. So first, I'd like to give you a quick overview again about us. So as you know, we are a global venture firm with over 120 employees globally today. The team will not be where we are today if we have not hired the right talent. And this is very crucial for a business like us as we continue to scale. Therefore, it's important for me to give you a bit more of a snapshot of what it's like working in B Capital Group and our core values as we look for talents today. So first, let me just give you a quick overview about our core values. We currently have six most important values that we look at. So first, we have the first one, which is honest and trustworthy. And this is very important, for our people, and especially because we are a venture capital firm, we value a lot on people, and hence, we have to be providing support and trust to one another and speak positively with the team. And next, we have the be open and inclusive. And that is what we say in what we do, especially, outside of work and at work as we invest. And that's one way where we try to increase our transparency, fairness, and respect in every interaction with people. Next, we have be collaborative. We believe in we and versus I and operate as one global team, as I mentioned earlier. We know that no one person has all the answers, and that's why being together, it's better. And next, it's being bold and being humble, being persistent, and finally, be involving, where we innovate and advocate with boundless curiosity and creativity, being a venture capital firm. So next, let me just walk you through very quickly about the structure as well in B Capital Group. So B Capital Group, we have 3 core functions. This includes investments, platform, and operations. And what we do as a team here, we focus a lot on investing into different segments and different industries. And our team and investment team will help to source and find deals where it's appropriate for our investments. And next, we have the platform team. They help to skew and work with the co-founders of our portfolio companies, and they will help to tackle some of the problems that they face as a startup, and hope that we will bring them up to a unicorn or an IPO. And finally, we have our operations team that consists of our marketing, HR, talent, finance, IT, and our personal admin. So that's basically about B Capital Group as a whole. And next, I would like to pass it on to Chris to give you a quick overview about his role that he's recruiting for within the investor relations team. And afterwards, I'll give you a bit more overview about what other roles we have in B Capital and what it's like, as you continue exploring with us. So let me just pass it on to Chris right now, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanna. Thank you, Kai. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for making a time for the virtual career fair. My name is Chris Lim. I am the Investor Relations Associate based out of our Singapore office. I guess, before diving into the investor relations function and role specifically, I'll just, quickly give 30 seconds overview of my previous background and how I landed in the investor relations function in the first place. So I have been with B Capital for more than 2 years now, primarily focused on fundraising activities and client servicing for Asia and Middle Eastern investors, or what we call the limited partners in the private equity and venture capital space. Prior to joining, I spent about 2 years at an investment management firm where my primary responsibilities were to, evaluate fund managers' performance within our clients' portfolio. So that's how I got started in the private equity and venture capital space in the first place. Investor relations to me is a very exciting career for various reasons. So broadly speaking, IR would mean 2 things to me. Number 1 is storytelling, and number 2 is client servicing. So it really involves, providing with our new and existing investors an accurate representation of the firm, as well as, the fund strategy that we have to make sure that our investors make an informed decision on whether to invest in our funds or not, right? So it also involves understanding the needs of our investors who are looking to deploy capital within the private markets. So you're talking about venture capital specifically for B capital, since we operate in this place, in this space. As you, many of the audience would already have known, venture capital as an asset class is a booming one, and is attracting a lot of interest from both the institutional investors as well as ultra high net worth individuals, just given the outstanding performance of the asset class, as compared to the other asset classes within the private and public space. So a little bit more about the role. So I just think that it might be helpful for me to share a little bit about the day-to-day within the investor relations function. So I would say it is a roughly equal split between fundraising, number one, number two, client servicing, and number three, IR operations. So on the fundraising side, with the guidance from our senior leadership team and as well as our global investor relations team, I engage with new investors to share a little bit more about the firm, the strategy, our prior track record, to help them form conviction in our strategy as well as our fund products. And if, let's say, they are interested in investing with us, I would then assist them with the end-to-end diligence process. On the second front, client servicing, it really involves a lot on, event organization. So we're talking about the annual general meeting, and also, annual or quarterly updates, business updates for our investors, just to give them an overview of the performance for the year or for the quarter. And also involves, assisting with investors on their ad hoc requests that they may have. And the number three pillar, I would say, is the IR operations. So this is also extremely crucial, just because we want to make sure that we track all our, prior touch points with our investors in our central CRM database. In terms of operation, we also work collaborative with various functions such as finance, investment team, legal, marketing, to create materials, such as your pitch books, private placement memorandums, DDQs, that are compelling enough, so that investors would be interested in investing with us. And finally, I would say that also involves streamlining internal processes to ensure that the fundraising and client servicing engine runs smoothly. So right now, for the current open role that we have within the investor relations team is the investor relations associate, who will be based out of Singapore. As I mentioned just now, the focus is really on three things: fundraising, client servicing, as well as IR operations. This is an amazing opportunity for the candidate to work collaboratively across function and in a very global team setup. Just because B Capital is a global firm, as Kai mentioned, we have mandates across the world, and that's the reason why it would be an exciting opportunity for you to be able to interact with people from different culture, different background, etc. The associate that we are looking for will have about less than 2 years of experience in investor relations or investment operations space within the fund management space. So not specifically, private equity or venture capital per se, but it will be preferred. The candidate will need to excel in content creation, client servicing, and as well as operations. So the job post, is on our LinkedIn page. If there's interest to apply, please feel free to do so. We are more than happy to speak with you. With that, I will hand it back to Joanna to speak about the other role.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, so as Chris mentioned, if you are interested to find out more about the role, in terms of the job description, feel free to go into our website, or you can actually go into the IBF, our IBF booth, where you could see the opportunity as well, and you can apply from there. So next, I'd like to just give a quick overview as well on the other position that we are recruiting for in Singapore, and that is within our platform team, where we are looking for a strategy and operations director. So what's interesting about this role is, as I mentioned earlier, right, for the platform team, they actually work closely with the CEO and the leadership team to work on a couple of interesting problems that they face as they continue to scale the business. So I would say that the role itself would be, there are two parts of it where this person would be looking at. That is to define and build up some of the scalable programs and processes to accelerate the success of our portfolio companies. So it could be an example where you will work with Ninja Van or Carol to help them to support some of these sales strategies and to continue to help them to scale from there. And this role, it is a very unique role. We've not seen many firms have built out in that way, where we have this strategic partnership with BCG, Boston Consulting Group, where we will actually work closely with them to deepen our relationships as a VC and also as a partner itself. So this role also would require this person to set some of the KPIs and plans to continue to help them to scale. So if, let's say, what it takes to do this role would be someone with management consulting background with Southeast Asia exposure, includes someone who had business development, partnership experience, or operating experience in a startup or a B2B technology firm. It will be highly preferred for this opportunity. So I have also put up this role on our IBF booth, so you can actually go into that and start applying if you think you are suitable for this opportunity. And finally, before I wrap things up, I want to just give a quick overview again, just about how it is like working at B Capital. This is just one that our colleague has shared with us in Singapore. They shared that, working in B Capital, as a firm, we are very open, transparent, and a fast-paced company, but also being a very collaborative business. We value independent thinkers who wants to take an active part in moving mission forward. But at heart, we are a unified team with a clear common goal to support forward-thinking entrepreneurs from across the globe as they remake their industries. So with that, I'd like to thank everyone again for being an active listener here to hear more about B Capital Group. And I'd like to pass it back to the floor and let people to ask any questions about us, and we will, attend to that as well. Yeah, and I'll pass it back to the team. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much, Chris, Joanna, and Kyril. While we wait for questions to come in, perhaps I can take this opportunity to ask some of the questions that we have actually encountered at past sessions. And one of them would be are there any support programs or any support resources within B Capital Group that can help people who are from outside the industry transition into the industry? So let's say they have some experience in other areas, other industries that might be useful and able to contribute to one of the roles that you have talked about, and they'd like to come in. Was there any way for them to transition into a company like B Capital?
Right. I can answer that briefly. So as you can see, for both the role that we have posted, the investor relations role and the strategy and operations role, we are not exactly looking at someone from the VC industry as we discussed. We're looking at people who had, experience working in a commercial structure or a setup, who would like to actually join us and explore with us in this in VC. Actually, I mean, as you can see, what Chris has shared, I mean, it would be great someone who had some client servicing or operations background, not necessarily in VC, but someone who has some idea within the banking and financial services, right? And the strategy and operations role, we are very open to looking at someone that has no VC background at all. If you look at B Capital team, the team that we've hired so far, most of them came from companies like Amazon or other big companies, or even some companies that are smaller scale. and they had the passion, to build up for our portfolio companies, right? And hence they joined us, to join us on the VC side. So I hope that answers your question, actually, Florence.
Yeah, thank you so much, Joanna. Another question I was just wondering would be useful for the audience to hear would be, what are some of the key skill sets that you guys are looking for these positions? Is there any qualifications that's absolutely needed, or some experience in a certain function in the financial services that is needed?
Yeah, I think I'll pass it to Chris to share a bit more about the IR role itself.
Yeah, sure, Joanna. So for the investor relations associate role specifically, as Joanna mentioned, we are not necessarily looking for someone who had, experience within the PBC space, but something relevant, right, in the investment management space or banking and finance even would be super helpful. And I guess, in terms of the skill sets that we're looking for, I would just like to reiterate that the desire to service our clients, go beyond the miles to make them happy, that would be the number one key thing we're looking out for in investor relations. And I think that is one part, and the other part would be operational excellence, right? So on top of being able to service our clients well, we also wanted to make sure that the day-to-day operations is maintained, because just because the investor relations team is a lean team, right? So we are a team of 5 people currently across the globe supporting so many of our investors. So, we need someone who is able to provide the kind of edge in terms of building out the infrastructure within the function. I hope that answers your question.
Thanks very much, Chris. What about the kind of training that new joiners can look forward to? Are there any training programs or mentorship or buddy programs within the company that they can look for support?
Yeah, I can take that. We do have a very comprehensive onboarding program for all our new hires. In addition to that, we also have functional onboarding where you be paired up with your team to make sure that you're well equipped on your first day right through your employee life cycle with us. It's also interesting to I can share as well that we also provide a USD $5,000 to all our employees per calendar year for them to actually go for professional development courses that's relevant for the area they work on. So that $5,000, you can actually go for short courses or certification that are going to help you as well in your role. So yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Yes, and 5,000 USD is very, very generous for training budget. So, okay, I don't see any questions in the box at the moment. Perhaps, oh, I've got one. Thank you, Wen Chao, Wen Jun. Wen Jun would like to find out if there are any areas of opening using my model. Okay, so Wen Jun has knowledge on machine learning and data science. He would like to find out whether there are any opportunities within the Capital Group that he can contribute to.
Yeah, I can actually give a quick answer on that. So thanks, Wen Jun, for your question. I do understand you mentioned about machine learning and data science, and that's very important as a business like us, where we invest into the technology firms. So in team of Singapore, we do have an IT team, and that covers more on the business intelligence side, as well as our day-to-day, IT perspective, on our very hands-on operational work. So with that, we have plans, where we will need someone that has very strong machine learning experience or data science, just given that it has to work hand in hand with our business intelligence team, where they will come up with all the analytics and all that, and we need this person to create tools and all that. So we currently do not have at this point, but we will definitely be, having this need in the coming months. So watch out on our website. We will definitely post this job. Or if, let's say, you would like to have an initial chat with us, feel free to send your CV to us on the link that we've shared on IBF, and we can also have an initial discussion from there.
Right. Thank you so much, Joanna. Okay, I think we will give the audience some time to explore the content available and the information available on your booth. Before we end today's session, perhaps I can invite you to share any tips or nuggets or wisdom with potential job seekers who are looking for opportunities within the B Capital Group. What would you advise them to do? Perhaps you can hear from Kai first.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks. That's a very good question, really, Florence. But I think my advice has always been come in with an open mind. Try as much as we want to learn from you. I think we appreciate the opportunity for you to learn more about B Capital throughout your interview process with us. So keep an open mind, ask a lot of questions, which is very important, and we'll do the same. But interviews is always two-way. It's a two-way process, and we appreciate candidates who really want to know about the company and as much as we want to know about them. I think that's one pro tip that I can give from a HR perspective.
Thank you.
Yeah,
And
sorry.
Joanna?
Yeah, I was frozen for a bit. So on my end, I would say that always come prepared, looking through the job description, knowing what you want to share. Most importantly, as you know, with the current climate, interviews are all done virtually. They should already have, a head space where they know what they are applying for, what they are looking for, and that's very important. As I speak to the candidates, and most importantly, to see the motivation, what they would like to get out of this opportunity. So that is one key thing from the talent perspective, which is very important as I speak to the candidates who are interested with us.
Thank you, Joanna. And Chris?
Just to add on to what Joanna said, it is important to come prepared. So, just now you asked the question about what kind of skill sets the person should have before applying for a certain job. I think that is secondary, right? So I think the motivation is the number one thing to consider. So if let's say you're super interested in investor relations role, you must be able to at least, do your homework in understanding, have a basic understanding of the industry and the role itself before applying, right? So that is extremely crucial just to make sure that the conversation during the interview is meaningful for both parties. That's what I would say.
Great. Thank you so much, Joanna, Chris, and Kai. I think there's a question from Wenju. Wenju would like to stay in contact with you. So I'll let you take this opportunity to invite all the audience to go to B Capital Group's virtual booth in the hiring zone, where you can actually connect with them directly via email, and you can apply for the jobs directly, and your resumes will be sent directly to B Capital Group itself. So with that, I think we have come to the end of today's session. So we hope you have found all the sharing sessions useful as you explore job and training opportunities at the fair. Don't worry, we'll keep the fair open until the midnight of 12th November to give you more time to explore the content as well as the opportunities available and apply for them. So thank you once again for joining us. If you have missed any of the sharing sessions before, you want to visit any of the sharing sessions, click on the links on the webinar section and you can view the recordings there. So with that, I thank you once again for your attention and thank our speakers, Joanna, Kai, and Chris for their sharing. And I wish you a very good afternoon to continue exploring the fair. Thank you.